Hello everybody, I'm Roadblock and this is another Raid Shadow Legends video. I am very excited because we have some fun stuff coming up. We're going to talk a little bit about what we got coming up here. Probably going to be a shorter video today. I don't have a lot of big updates for you guys. Mostly because we just had our shard pull that we were kind of waiting on, and I'm excited about who I got, but maybe that's the state of the game these days, but I just feel like there's something better around the corner. Now, I've run into this problem before. If you've followed any of my other free-to-play series, mostly my main free-to-play series, you'll know that there was a period where I had a husk, and I was just kept waiting. I was like, I could 6-star that husk, but there's a shard pull around the corner. I might pull something better. And I don't remember if that's when I got Geomancer or what, but I just remember that it just kept happening. I kept saying, well, maybe there'll be somebody better, and then there was somebody better. And I said, well, maybe there'll be somebody better, and there was somebody better. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about Magnar. If you missed a couple of episodes, just to fill you in our last shard pull, we pulled Magnar, which I thought was a pretty good pull. But the concern that I have is I don't have the Ignore Defense gear for him. That gear is currently on Alice, and Alice hits like a truck. She's fully mastered. She's built really well. I've talked about Alice and her build and the kit and the gear on her. We don't need to, keep diving into that. But the fact of the matter is that while I do think Magnar will hit better than Kale in PvP, I don't know for sure that Magnar is my next 6-star. And he may not even end up becoming a 6-star. He might be better as a 50 for Faction Wars. So, ultimately, we received news today about a lot of stuff. And I put this to the chat while we were streaming today. I said, hey, guys, do you want to wait and see? Should I pull Magnar now, or should I wait and see after the Prism shard that I'm going to get, which we'll talk about in a second? And the consensus was mostly you should wait and see. And I kind of agree with that. Now let's talk here about the Prism, the summon pool for the Prism shard. We'll start with the epics. I gotta be honest with you, there's nothing all that exciting to me down here. Right out the gate, some people might say, oh, well, the Miscreated's down there. Miscreated is a great champion. Yeah, but I have an ally protector in Taragi. I've already got a dupe of Taragi. I don't want a third one. And I just don't feel like another ally protector really does what I need. I also looked at Captain Tamila and I was like, oh, look, we have another ally protector and an increased defense champion. Okay, this looks pretty interesting. And then I recognized this is a 2-turn ally protect on a 4-turn cooldown when booked. That is not going to cut it for Clan Boss. Plain and simple, right? So all the ally protectors are kind of out. Ilsinia is really only interesting for Mikage reasons. There's a Husk who we just kind of talked about. I never felt like he could really make the cut. Now, this account could use an enemy max HP champion, but if I believe what I've been told, because I've not looked it up myself, he has the lowest multiplier for enemy max HP damage on the A2, and it's a 4-turn cooldown, and the rest of the kit is essentially useless. That's when you're talking about a short 3-month window, it's really hard to pencil somebody like that into the lineup when, they're not really going to perform. And I gotta be real with you, in today's Raid Shadow Legends, it's not that hard to build champions that hit hard. I know that sounds kind of weird when you say it like that, but it's true. And what I mean is that we have relics, we have accessories that give way more damage. We have sets and area bonuses and all these different things that make our champions so strong now. It's really difficult for me to say that, Husk is up there in damage. I mean, my Alice is almost out damaging my Kale right now. Maybe that's maybe that's a commentary on Kale and his build more than it is on me, or on him, I should say. But I don't know, guys. I'm not trying to say that Husk. I'm not trying to tear him down, but I don't know that he would make the cut. The one saving grace for him is that he's Force Affinity, and I don't have any Force Affinity champions on the roster that I want a 6-star currently. So that's a possibility. Not interested in that guy. Taunt champion, I just don't see this really being a thing other than something for Spider, right? Throw that taunt up with the counterattack and the strengthen, and then hopefully get the buff removal of the poisons from himself, essentially, is really the one thing I can see, but I don't feel like that's necessary. I feel like there are other ways to beat Spider. I felt like when I've looked in the past, Elijah's kit looked pretty interesting. You've got a decreased attack on the A2, poisons on the A1, continuous heal, and shield on all allies. 30% when ally lizardmen accept this champion are attacked. Yeah, so that's a little less good there. Kind of a built-in lifesteal kit gear. And a 2x hitter with a 20% chance. I honestly think that if I pulled Delaja, they would probably see some action here. Truly. Some extra healing is always welcome. A relatively big shield on an HP-based champion. And then you have this decreased attack with Spirit Affinity, so that will pair pretty well with my Taragi, who is Magic Affinity as my decreased attacker, so this kind of fills a hole there whenever we face a Force Affinity champion. The shield can come in handy, and if she has good HP, she could get pretty hefty there. But the thing I love about this is that she brings the poisons that Kale brings with seemingly more to the kit. Right? The only thing Kale does for me right now, when we're talking clan boss, is damage. Doesn't bring a decreased attack, doesn't bring a way to help keep people alive longer, and I have to build him in a lifesteal set because he's pretty squishy compared to other champions. This would be an HP-based champion that could fill that role of Kale relatively easily. So I'm actually kind of interested in Delaja, not to mention that, who knows, I might be able to go for a Makagi. That'd be pretty crazy, but it could happen. We already have a Magnar, so there's really no... Let me see if I need to move my head here. We already have a Magnar, so we don't really need to look at Magnar. Ornn would be great. Ornn would be probably my most wanted epic out of this bunch. We already have a Vogoth. And Vrask is a pretty decent healer to my understanding. I just don't need raw healing. I quite frankly, I don't. I have big shields. I have decent healing from Tagore and Ugo, so just a pure healer doesn't, in my opinion, help me all that much. It's nice when it's part of another kit, kind of like Delaja, right? This is a poison decreased attacker. Oh, they also have a shield and some heals, right? This is a poisoner that has increases their stats, activation with poison sensitivity. They have more complex kits than just, oh yeah, this guy heals. Cool. I don't really need it. Another interesting one is both the Rancid, but mainly probably as a 50. I would probably build both as a 50. By the way, if I got him a lot earlier, I would have built him as a 60, just to be clear. But getting him at this point in the game, I think he's a 50. I think he would be a good replacement for my Spirit Host that I'm currently using to try and get past Spider. And we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But decreases the damage of poisons, removes 2 random debuffs from all allies and heals them by 10% of their max HP. Increase accuracy. The increased accuracy early on is why I would have said, hey, I like this guy. Decrease accuracy I don't think is really valid. But the buff extension, which I didn't even know he had in his kit until just now, is actually slightly more intriguing than I realized, by the way. And of course, heal reduction, that's going to come in handy on certain fights. That buff extension, he would be one of the only champions I have with a buff extension, and he brings enough in the kit that I think it actually might be pretty viable to pair with the Taragi. I don't know if he would make the cut quite over Kale. And I keep saying Kale because, frankly, Alice is really good, and she's doing a lot of work for me right now, and she's about to get even better with the 5-star blessing Brimstone. So we'll see if she can overtake Kale as damage dealer. I don't think my Kale is built that terribly, but it is possible that it's my own fault and not the fault of Kale himself. But either way, those are the epics for the summon pool. I'm realizing as I'm talking now, the video might be a little longer than I originally said, because we haven't even started talking about the legendaries yet. I gotta be real with you, not all that interested in this guy. Maybe provoke on the A1 for Hydra, but I mean, stress attackers max 8. This is really interesting for Scarab Boss potentially, but and I mean, I just don't know where I use this guy. Quite frankly, I mean, maybe something for Spider, you know, with the taunt and unkillable. I don't know, man. I just don't know where I use this guy. Maybe I'm wrong there. My most wanted out of the legendaries here is Korrigar Deathbell, by far. So you have an ally protection on a 3-turn cooldown with a strengthen. Yes, please. I would actually keep him and Taragi and just keep those ally protects up the whole time. That's what I would do. But I love the passive here. Increases the resistance and defense for each ally protection buff on allies, and then increases the resistance and defense for each ally protection buff on allies if there are multiple changes. So basically, increasing his defense by a bunch and the allies' defense by a little bit is really nice. So and then a counterattack with a self heal. So you have that, like we just talked about, that built-in lifesteal set for that survivability. But this is the part that is actually the most important to me. Turn meter of 30% and a full cleanse. Huge. Absolutely huge. Extremely wanted champion for my roster. Plain and simple. That full cleanse is very desperately needed, but even further than that, the rest of the kit is very, very solid too. So that's my most wanted out of all these legendaries. Artak, most of us know what Artak does. We got him, a lot of us got him for free on other accounts back in the day. Great champion, good for soloing stuff, can be a really good carry for the account. Decrease attack, burns, damage, activation. Love the guy. Would be very happy to pull Artak, no doubt about it. Operdin, I would be happy to pull. I would say not maybe the best support that I could think of if I was to start a new account, but certainly not the worst. And would definitely help me get through a lot of the difficult areas in the game and could definitely carry me as a support. I won't go too deep into the kit, but end of the day, mini cleanse healing. And I think turn meter. I think there's something about turn meter in here. Yeah. Yep. turn meter right there. So would want. Bells is interesting because I don't know if Bells, from what I've heard, I don't think Bells does quite the amount of damage that I would really want. You do get the leech, which is nice, right? And that's a higher percent chance at a leech than, say, Ugo's A1, um, which is really nice. And yeah, I just don't think we get enough damage out of Bells to really make the cut in a lot of areas of my team right now. I just don't know where he gets used right now. Bivald is actually pretty low on the list, and I'm sure people are gonna be like, "What do you mean? He's a great provoker, great for Hydra." Yeah, he absolutely is. I'm not there yet. Yes, if I got him, he would be the provoker. He would be in Hydra, and I would reap the benefits of that. But the reality is that we're not there yet. Like, I still need to solve clan boss. I still need to solve dungeon bosses. I still need to solve a lot of content. Feel free to let me know in the comments if I'm sleeping on a part of this kit. But the reality to me is it's a healer, shielder, provoker with a leech and a strengthen. And the strengthen is only on this champion, which is a little selfish. So I'm just saying that out of these options, he's probably lower on my list. That's it. I would actually be okay with Krokmar. I don't think he's going to hit particularly hard, but a lot of AoE hits in here. Interesting passive that really increases damage potential. It's a reasonable champion that I feel like I could use in different areas of the game for wave clear, for boss damage. You know, it's not going to be the hardest hitter in the world, I don't think. I've never built him, so feel free to let me know in the comments if I'm wrong there, but I wouldn't be opposed to getting him. I'm actually very excited at the possibility of getting Mortu Macabre. I think that Mortu Macabre would be very strong for an early account because I do not have to build this guy with any ignore defense, and I immediately get 100% ignore defense on an HP-based champion, which is not the hardest thing to build, to be completely honest. I mean, but the biggest thing is the speed in all battles. Look, if I have to use Mortu Macabre as nothing more than an aura lead who occasionally will smack somebody pretty hard, I'm okay with that. Arena would be great, but even in PvE, probably not clan boss, but other areas of progression, I actually think I would get a lot of use out of Mortu Macabre. I really do believe that. So he is definitely one that I would not be upset if I got. And then Stick Track. I think Stick Track would be very, very good for this account. Again, we have an Ally Protect, this time with the reflect damage on everybody. That actually is sneaky good in Fire Knight, because that'll break the shield down a little bit quicker. And then a Leech, which is pretty much guaranteed. Oh, and increases the damage reflect damage does. I didn't even see that part of the kit when I looked at this stuff earlier. So, yeah, and then decreased speed, books up to 100% chance. It's an AoE decreased speed that is very handy in a lot of different areas. And that shield we've been talking about, big shield, HP-based champion. That big shield is going to help keep us alive in other areas of the game. Oh, and by the way, also a decreased attack that is 100% chance to land. Obviously, affinity matters, but again, good affinity to pair up with my other ally protector in Taragi. The ally protection only needs 2 books. So there's not, like, you don't have to go through a bunch of bullcrap increasing percent chances and damage and all that stuff. You just flat out book this. Now, obviously, the books could go here or go here, but when you're talking about a champion that would be bookable, I definitely think Snick Track is one of the better book champions. You know, like you could go a lot worse. Like if we look at That one's fine. Well, that one was just a bad cooldown, but well, actually, yeah, Taragi is a great example. So, like, I'm trying to book my Taragi, and in fact, why don't I show you my actual Taragi, and so you can see where the books kind of fell. So, I still haven't even touched the cooldown on Taragi, but I got friggin' 4 books into here and a book into here. It's like, come on, man, help me out, please. Where I feel like we could get really lucky and just, you know, land those books early on that that ally protection on stick track. So that's how I feel about this Prism Shard event. Now the other shard is going to be coming from something else. Let me just collect these gems right here. The other Prism Shard during this event is coming from the Soul Chase, which we can't see what it's going to require, but I highly doubt that my current 3 mortals, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8 mortals and 1 immortal soulstone are going to get me enough points. I just do not think that it's going to happen. We're asking for some really lucky rolls in order to be able to pull that off. Now, stranger things have happened. I mean, we did pull a 6-star mythical soul, so you know, if we were to hit on something like that, that would probably get us the points that we need, but we're asking a lot. So my hopes are not up to get the other Prism shard pulls. So, by the way, I wanted to talk about, and I said I would talk about Sand Devil progress. We're doing great. It's going way above pace right now, way faster than pace. We're at 2147 right now. We need 2800. That is going to happen very, very quick. I got 500 gems. I mean, I can make that happen. I could probably knock that out in just a couple of minutes. You know, probably like 30, 40 minutes to be more precise. But yeah, we'd be able to knock that out pretty quickly. So I'm not concerned about hitting those. But when am I going to pull? That's actually a very important question. So we've got 4 days, 23 minutes left. And we're just after midnight. So essentially this will be going on Friday. We know there is a champion chase coming on Friday. I will save those 2 shards. Now, it may not result in anything big. I say 2, I meant 1, sorry. I will save that 1 Prism shard and pull it because at least I want to double dip, right? I'm waiting a couple of days, sure, but at least I get to double dip, and I think that's important for the Prism shard specifically. Where things change a little bit, because you would assume that if I'm going to save those shards until Friday, that I would also save these ancients that I have. But we have a double legendary event tomorrow. And can you imagine if my account was to hit on a double legendary event and we pull some pretty good champions? So let's talk about that a little bit. Now, I don't have... Oops. Hang on one second. There we go. Okay. I don't have a lot of the promotional stuff. I don't know if that's in the content creator Discord or if I'm just not seeing it in a specific Discord. But either way, there are 2 days of progressive chances, which is usually the case, and there's 2 days of the double legendaries. So when I'm looking at the roster for tomorrow, I'm not going to go into detail on these guys tomorrow, or on the guys that I'm about to mention, but we have Wukong, Lady Kimmy, Feral, Bells, and King Galkabar for tomorrow, Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we have Padrig, Stock, Elva, Wither, and Lady of Ireth. Feel free to look them up on your own, but I gotta say I'm leaning towards Elva. And I think we talked about this in the past. Of the options for progressive chance, Aura is a huge part of it for me. A revive, which yes, we have one, but That's nice to have. The biggest thing for me is cleanse with the block debuffs and increased speed. And just a good overall kit. The big thing is the aura in all battles. Feral is good, but I just don't know that he quite, if I pulled one, he would be in my teams. Like, there's no doubt about that. I'm not saying that, but I just think that while it would suck because Elva essentially replaces an existing champion for me in Tagore, I still think she is such a hard carry. And again, another champion in the conversation is Padrig, speed in dungeons, cleanse with turn meter and increased speed. This is very, very good and good everywhere. I could also use this in arena. With an ally attack that's very good and cooldown reduction. Like, Padrig is amazing. Plus, I get all of the buffs that I want. I would not be upset at a Padrig. I just think Elva is not better. I think Padrig's better overall. But you're talking about a brand new account. You're talking about a block debuffs after a cleanse and an increased speed, a backup revive, and some pretty reasonable healing. But the big thing for me is that aura in all battles. This becomes my lead champion in every single fight of the game, everywhere. I think it's something that I think people sleep on a little bit. I would love to make a dedicated video talking about speed. We are already quite long on this video right now, and I still have more stuff to talk about. But the reality is I'm not pulling until Wednesday for those ancient shards, but I will pull them during a double legendary event and during a progressive chance. Sure, I could save them for a champion chase, but they're like, I don't know that it would be quite as worth it to wait until then, because we're not going to have a 2x for ancients anyways. So if I'm going to pull them, I'd rather pull them where I have a chance of getting something crazy. A double legendary would be pretty crazy. So I'm going to do it that way. I think I've talked about everything. I feel like there was one other thing that I referenced and said, oh, we'll talk about that in a little bit. And I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. So overall, things are good. Oh, Doom Tower. I want to talk about Doom Tower. It just popped in my head there. Yeah, I'm not getting past this one. This is I'm so far away from successfully completing this floor 110 Nether Spider. That is using Spirit Host, Ugo. I've tried several different iterations of my team here, of these 6 champions. We need a little bit of an extra push. Something like an Elva would be amazing. So we are just not quite there yet to go ahead and beat the Nether Spider. Keep working at it. Keep trying. But I just don't think we're there yet. And I hope that we will get there soon. So, that is everything I needed to talk about. So that is the game plan. And we're going to wait just a little bit before our next 6-star. Simply because, and I'm reloading right now, the leaderboards over on Hell Hades' website to kind of take a look and see. Only one person right now has 6 stars. So I'm not behind the pace, and quite frankly, I'm ready for my next 6-star very quickly. I would be able to get that very, very quickly if I wanted to go ahead and push for that. So I think we're okay with where we're at right now. And so tomorrow, no shard pulls tomorrow. I don't think. Let me pull that back up really quickly and see if there's anybody. So the free-to-play account is also going to pull shards on Wednesday. we're going to pull Ancient Shards on Wednesday and go after Elva. I've talked about this many, many times on the free-to-play, my main free-to-play account. My main account is also going to go for Elva. This account, the challenge account, also going to go for Elva. There is an argument for Padrig, and I will consider that. But the main free-to-play account, I don't have a cleanser, reviver, block debuff champion. I need a cleanser, block debuff champion. Elva is the answer. So we're going to go ahead and get Elva, or sorry, go for Elva on that account with Ancient Shards. But I think my Mercy on that account is not great, so I'm not hoping for anything crazy. But I wanted to let you guys know so you can tune in live and see the shard pulls on Wednesday. On Tuesday, double on the main account, which I would always go for double legendary events. I honestly, I'm just going to pull. I don't think that there is either day that particularly interests me. I actually have most of the champions that we've talked about, except for Feral the Barkhorn. So I will probably pull Ancient Shards on my main account tomorrow. So that account is right here. I just swapped over. That account has 2 Ancient Shards. So, not going to be the best opportunity, the best look, to be completely honest with you guys. But I'll pull them. I'll pull them. No reason not to. And we'll see if we can hit on anything as far as the double legendary event goes. My Mercy on the main account, so literally this means nothing. I want to be clear with you guys. This means nothing. 125 Ancient Shards. My Mercy is still 0. This does not matter until we're up into 200. But that gambling brain will tell you, well, I'm due, right? I'm not actually due. That's not a real thing. But we'll pull the shards. And a couple of more Ancients might show up on the main account. I'm still not spending on my main account. For those of you that heard me talk about that, probably won't until we get later into February and we see what the fusion and associated stuff to the fusion is. But as far as getting more Ancients, I might be able to get some from Tag Team Arena Bazaar. We might get some from Clan Boss. That's kind of what I was talking about, just to be clear. I'm still not spending money. I don't think I would spend any gems either, but we'll pull a couple Ancient Shards. I'm not afraid of it. We'll pull them over the next 2 days, too. You never know. I've hit on double legendaries before when I was not expecting to. So that's the plan. So please tune in if you can for the live stream. The live streams are been going great. The one downside to the live streams is they take up a lot of my time, which is why you're really only getting one video a day. You're getting them late at night. So some of it, you're probably watching it and you're like, what do you mean tomorrow? It's already Tuesday, dude. It's like, yeah, sorry. I recorded this at, right before midnight. Well, it's midnight now, but yeah, it's I'm sorry. So, but I'm going to get the video out as soon as I can, and I just want to say thank you for everybody watching. Just a quick reminder, if you have not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. I am making a push to 5,000 subscribers. We've been doing very good in that direction, and I'd like to keep that up if possible. Just trying to grow the channel and see where that goes. So thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next one. Take care.